Welcome to the dark side of BEASTwriter. I'm your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we're going to be breaking down a few things when it comes to the Raiders free agent class of 2023. If you guys haven't heard the news, Jimmy Garoppolo is inked to a 3-year, $17.75 million contract. If you break it down APY, it comes out to $22.5 million APY. I'm going to talk about why the valuation versus evaluation checks out, why the Raiders went ahead and made this play, why I thought that Jimmy Garoppolo would be making his way to Raider Way. So a lot of things to discuss. I am excited to hop back on the Pick Six live stream at 6. Moving on and moving forward, I think since it's called the Pick Six segment, we're going to do a Pick Six at 6 every single day heading on from here on out. So we have a set schedule for the live stream so you guys know when I'm going to hop on. So I think I'm going to do it every day at 6 p.m. because it's Pick Six at 6 just makes sense. So we're going to go ahead and keep to that schedule for now, hopefully in the future as well. But yeah, there's a lot of different things that we can talk about. I'm really excited on how this is all playing out. But yeah, here we go. We're going to talk about it right now. Let's get to some of your comments and me bring up the banner so we can go ahead and break the news. All right. So if you guys haven't heard the news yet, obviously Jimmy Garoppolo is inked a 3-year, $17.75 million contract. Now the question remains, who is Jimmy Garoppolo? You know, for those who don't know, I'm coming from the San Francisco 49ers. So obviously I have, I guess, the inside track on Jimmy Garoppolo because I covered him for so many years. And I was the one that asked him the Tom Brady question at his introductory press conference when they traded him for a second-round pick to the New England Patriots. And so I asked him, what's the single most important thing that you learned from Tom Brady being the gold standard and now coming here to San Francisco? And then also, if you guys follow me on Twitter, I also put up a double gain on that video when it comes to playing behind some of the greats, you know, the Joe Montanas, the Steve Youngs, all these guys, Y.A. Tittle, you know, all these guys who played for the 49ers during their tenure. What is it like playing behind some of these guys? And what kind of pressure, you know, in a sense, does that kind of bring forth on you when you're stepping into big shoes, right? Those are big shoes to fill. And now the same dynamic comes into Raider Way. So I'm going to be asking him a similar question. Hopefully no one takes it because, you know, it's kind of like past, present, future, whatever. Jim Plunkett should be in the Hall of Fame. It's not, but Ken Stabler is. And so I think there's this huge similarities when you talk about going from the 49ers to the Raiders from a first-class organization standpoint. So when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo, not too many people know who Jimmy Garoppolo is. Back in 2014 coming out, if you guys don't know, Jim Harbaugh gave him a private workout. And again, we're going to peel back layers of the onion to get to the core. People just talk about what just happened when he was traded to San Francisco. But at the same time, Jim Harbaugh really liked Jimmy Garoppolo coming out of college. All right, so here's a guy, and I covered Jim Harbaugh with the 49ers. So there you have it. Thought he would be drafted in the second round by the 49ers, but ultimately didn't happen. Anyways, who's Jimmy Garoppolo? He's a 2014 second-round pick, drafted number 62 overall, coming out of Eastern Illinois, 6'2", 226. So the height, weight, speed checks out from the quarterback position. Not the smallest guy, obviously, like a Bryce Young, but then Bryce Young don't grow on trees either. But getting back to Jimmy Garoppolo, he had a 7.043 cone drill. When you compare that to, let's say, Khalil Mack, who ran a 7.1, you can kind of see the lateral agility there and the quickness, right? And the 3-cone drill, it's not only to get to point A to point B, but how fast can you get there, changing speeds, changing directions, and so forth. So he does a really good job in that 3-cone drill. Had a 7.04, which means he can manipulate the pocket how he sees fit, extending plays with his eyes downfield because he doesn't get rattled in the sense that if he's getting pressure, he knows how to stand tall and deliver, right? So we're going to talk about all these things. I'm excited if you guys haven't told. But you know what? To be honest with you, is he going to be like a Pro Bowl type quarterback? We don't know. We really don't know, but we do know he has a 70% career win percentage. And if you're in the just win baby mentality, how can you go against that? He's a winner. Now, you can be like, oh, well, he's backed up by a strong defense and he has a good rushing attack. But hey, I don't care what the formula is for winning. If you win, you win. I don't care how you win. I don't care if it's an ugly win. I don't care if you have 35,000 turnovers in the game. If you come out with 1 point more than the other team, I don't give a crap. At the end of the day, we won. So who cares if I had a crappy game? Who cares if I threw 7,000 picks? I'm joking. Kind of not, but you guys get what I'm saying. Who cares? As long as he wins, who gives a damn how the formula looks like? Just win maybe mentality is all it takes. So getting back to Jimmy Garoppolo, right? We talked about where he came from Eastern Illinois. Talked about how Jim Harbaugh gave him a private workout. Jim Harbaugh would know he played quarterback. Liked him. All right, from 2014, 2017 was drafted by the Patriots, and then they traded him away, like I said, for a second-round pick in 2018. And then in 2018 to 2022, he played for the 49ers. Obviously, that kind of came with a mixed bag. Look, the same dynamic. I'm telling you, because I cover the Raiders now. The same dynamic of the split between the fan base on Derek Carr is the same dynamic that you have in San Francisco. It's really weird. It's really weird. I don't know why that is, but I can understand how that has came to fruition. Because let's face it, Jimmy Garoppolo, and I already talked about this, the split locker room dynamic with the players, the top players, the best players on the team, they all want who? Jimmy Garoppolo. They didn't want Trey Lance. They won't go out and publicly say that, but the proof is in the pudding. What did Deebo Samuel say? What did George Kittle say? They all have Jimmy Garoppolo's. Now, I'm not saying that they don't like Trey Lance or they would prefer. I'm not saying. I'm just saying if they had a choice, though, you go with what you're familiar with. What got you there? Jimmy Garoppolo got them there. Got them to the Super Bowl. Arguably could have won them the Super Bowl had he not got hurt this year. But then again, they have Brock Purdy. But what's happened with Brock Purdy? We don't know. But getting back to it, Jimmy Garoppolo. He's a winner, right? When you talk about his career numbers, right, coming out as a 2014 backup quarterback to Tom Brady, he had 67.6% completion rate, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I've been following Jimmy Garoppolo. He makes some throws that kind of make you there. What are you doing? What are you doing, Jimmy Garoppolo? But at the end of the day, for the majority of the game, he does pretty well. All right, 67.6% completion rate, makes quick, decisive decisions, has 87 touchdown to 42 interceptions, touchdown to interception ratio, which you do the math, 2-to-1 ratio, better than 2-to-1 ratio. I'll take that any day of the week. That means he throws 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions every single game. I'll take that any game of the day. Give it to me. All right, so he makes really quick, decisive decisions and does a really good job at that. Has a quarterback passer rating career-wise of a 99.6. So you take that all together, you get a really good, solid quarterback. Now, is he going to be a Pro Bowl quarterback? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and be like, oh, yeah, it's going to be top 5 quarterback. I'm not going to say that. Just keep it one. I'm not going to say it. But what I can say is under Coach McDaniel's scheme, he can get things done. And I think Raider Nation, who are coming at me sideways, some, not all you guys, somewhere, oh, no, we should have kept Derek Carr over Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm like, okay. I would disagree with that. Slightly disagree. Not like saying it's a total flip 180 on that. You know, you can make a argument that, you know, they should have kept Carr over Jimmy Garoppolo. But for me, having covered Derek Carr, now having covered Jimmy Garoppolo in the past, I would rather have Jimmy Garoppolo. I would rather have Jimmy Garoppolo. We're going to go ahead and talk about it, right? And this is something I predicted over 2 months ago, right? And here we are, right? I predicted this 2 months ago. Heavy.com tweeted my analysis, made a graphic out of it. Here we are. So what does Jimmy G bring to the table, right? What does this guy bring to the table? Why do people like him? Why do people not like him in the Bay Area? Right? Because it's either one or the other. Same thing here in Vegas. You either like Derek Carr or you don't like Derek Carr. My guy Colin at Trader Joe's, who I just talked to before coming back here and hopping on a live stream, loves Derek Carr. You know, all-time greatest fourth quarter comeback quarterback in NFL history. You know, it's great. I like Derek Carr too. I also like Jimmy Garoppolo. So, again, this is where the valuation versus evaluation comes into play. You can't just go on and say, I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be better than Derek Carr, or I think Derek Carr is going to be better than Jimmy Garoppolo because he's with New Orleans Saints. Whatever the case may be. Look, let's just go ahead and break it down. All right, so what does Jimmy Garoppolo do that will benefit him in Coach McDaniel's system? Right? Well, he makes quick, decisive decisions. Not saying that Derek Carr does not. I'm just going on talking about the pros when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo. He makes quick, decisive decisions, right? He's a good decision maker for the most part. Smart, unquestioned work ethic. These are things that I saw at Levi Stadium covering the San Francisco 49ers, right? He knows how to sell the play action pass, which is really good because who do you have back there? Josh Jacobs. This is good news for Josh Jacobs, by the way, because Jimmy Garoppolo needs a strong supporting cast. That strong supporting cast starts with Josh Jacobs. So if you're Josh Jacobs, you're thinking, hey, we got Jimmy Garoppolo, game manager, but hey, I'm the workhorse back. You need to pay me $12.5 to $15 million APY that BEASTwriter talked about. You ain't pay Josh Jacobs. Strong supporting cast backed up by a strong defense. I can guarantee you in this upcoming draft, the Raiders, all right, they're going to be very heavy defensively up front with that defensive front seven specifically. And we're going to talk about why. At number 7, don't be surprised if they stay pat and pull the trigger on the best player available, who I think is going to be Jalen Carter based on my mock draft, or trade down to a cluster of players and get a guy like cornerback Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. All right. Stay tuned for this. There's a lot of parameters that go into my line of thinking here when covering all 32 NFL teams and what they might may not do and everything. You see my beast receipts on Twitter. Predicted Sam Darnold to go to the Niners, right? Here, where's he going today? To the Niners. 2 years ahead of my time. But anyways, here we are. All right. So Jimmy Garoppolo, highly competitive guy, unquestioned work ethic, great team locker room guy. I like Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, let's talk about the cons. There are cons to Jimmy Garoppolo's game. I'm not saying this guy's going to be like the best thing since sliced bread, but I do like Jimmy Garoppolo. But he's a 1 to 2 read quarterback. I'll be honest with you. He doesn't really scan the whole entire length of the field. Doesn't go from left to right or right to left. Kind of keys in on the tight end down the seams as a security blanket. That being George Kittle. Now it's going to be Darren Waller. So I don't think Darren Waller is going to go anywhere. Question was asked, do you think Darren Waller is going anywhere? Even before, I said, no, I think Darren Waller's job is safe. Now watch him get traded. And watch Jimmy Garoppolo have a horrible year and Derek Carr go on to win MVP of the Super Bowl. All these things can happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying the proof is in the pudding when it comes to the beast receipts, more times than not. But we don't know. But no, Jimmy Garoppolo has some flaws in his game. You know, when it comes to between the 20s, his deep field accuracy has been an issue. It's been an issue. All right. I'm not going to sit here and lie. And he doesn't live to play another down in crunch time situations. I take a deep breath here because I've seen it one too many times. He does 75% or 80% of the game really well. And then those other 2 or 3 plays, he kind of just, But no one's perfect. I get it. He makes mistakes. I make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. No one's perfect. You know, we're all human. But at the end of the day, you should be able to learn from your mistakes. And hopefully Jimmy Garoppolo has learned from his mistakes. All right. So those are some issues that I have when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo's game. But let's talk about it. Why was the move made in the first place? Why did they go out and sign Jimmy Garoppolo as opposed to going after a guy like Aaron Rodgers? Well, it comes cheaper, right? Cheaper doesn't necessarily mean better. But when you talk about the valuation versus evaluation, the excess money allows you to re-sign homegrown talent like Josh Jacobs and go out and build up the defense and beef up the offensive line. Gives you draft flexibility on what you're going to do with that number 7 pick overall. Look, I'm just talking right now. No one's feeding me information because I've been doing this forever. Like, look, it's not anybody who says that they're going to draft a quarterback at number 7. Now watch them do it. Is ridiculous. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to wait until the second round, second, third rounds, find a prospect that they can develop, give Jimmy Garoppolo the keys to the Ferrari, if you will, and let him have the best chance to win, which is building a strong supporting cast with that first round pick. Whether it be drafting at number 7, would be trading down in the 12 to 18 range, which I talked about in my earlier live streams 2 months ago or a month and a half ago. The Beast Receipts checking out. There's a cluster of players, and I'll just be honest, this draft class is not as top heavy as in years past, right? So again, if you're a GM and you're looking at it from a pro player personnel standpoint, there's different layers of the onion to really get to the core when I go out and formulate this analysis. But at the end of the day, I think you can win with Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, will they? I don't know. Time will tell. But you definitely can win with Jimmy Garoppolo behind center or underneath center, however case, right? So why was the move made, right? We're going to talk about this. Let me get the ticker up. Why the heck would you sign Jimmy Garoppolo over trading for a guy like Lamar Jackson, giving up 2 first-round picks? If that was the case, or GM Eric DeCosta just kind of jerking on his chain a little bit because he wants to know what the market value is. So then Lamar Jackson can come back and be like, I signed this offer sheet. And Eric DeCosta says, we're going to match it. We're going to match it. And Ozzie Newsome sitting there like, we're going to match it. We're not letting you go anywhere. Lamar Jackson, you kidding me? But did you hear news? Speaking of the Baltimore Ravens, former offensive center Bradley Bozeman signed a 1-year deal with the Carolina Panthers, is now staying there. Bradley Bozeman, not the best center in the league, but he's serviceable. He's good. I like that move by GM Scott Fitterer there. really building up that defense and offensive line, beefing it up how he sees fit. I like it. Scott Fitter likes building up from the inside out on the defense side of football specifically. Holds the number one over pick. I think it's going to be Bryce Young. Now watch it be CJ Stroud. No, watch it be Will Levis. Oh my gosh. Panthers are watching. Good job. Got the number one overall pick. Gave up a lot for it, but it is what it is. All right. Derek Carr was given his walking papers. You guys don't know, he's now off to the New Orleans Saints. Backup Jarrett Stidham, if you haven't heard by now. My man, Stiddy Magic, signed with the Denver Broncos. Killing two birds with one stone. Denver got a backup quarterback at a fraction of the price. And I wish Jarrett Stidham would have stayed here in Las Vegas. But with Jarrett Stidham off now, that means that the Raiders are in the market for a backup quarterback. Don't get it twisted. It's not going to be Chase Garbers. He's not the future. No offense to you, Chase. Now, I'm not saying you can't be a great quarter. I'm just saying, from what I'm seeing, it's not very much because there's nothing to pull from. So it's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo, and they're going to draft a quarterback, and Chase Gardner going to be nothing on their depth chart or practice squad, whatever the case may be. All right. So Garbers was the only one under contract in 2023. Not anymore. They got Jimmy Garoppolo, seemingly legal tampering period. And they inked him to a 3 year, $67.5 or $72.7 million contract with $34 million in guaranteed money. All right. That's what they got from. Now, you guys notice I haven't been on a live stream in a long time. Love it. Excited. Hope you guys are excited. Now, what's the instant gratification versus long-term gains, right? So outside of Bryce Young and maybe quarterback CJ Stroud, not high on any of these drafting quarterbacks in the top 10. I'm just saying. Now, everyone's saying Anthony Richardson, look, you're going off potential here. Just grade the film. Grade the snap, not the box score. Don't look at the Workout Warrior measurables. I don't care about all that. I'm seeing people post stuff. I'm like, Hey, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But the quarterback of the immediate future, while potentially drafting a quarterback to groom in 2-3 year outlook down the road, I can see them going after and drafting a quarterback, but not going to be in the top 10. I'll watch them draft a quarterback in the top 10. Watch them draft Anthony Richardson. I'm going to say, BEASTwriter said. Yeah, I could get one wrong. No one's perfect. It's not often, but no one's perfect. Hey, look, I think they're better served if I was GM Dave Ziegler to solidify and get a guy like Peter Skoronski. Now, you wouldn't draft him. And I talked to my guy, Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network. We were talking about this, talking about Peter Skoronski. I was like, I see a guard. And he said, yeah, he sees a guard too. He, obviously Skoronski can play tackle. He's better suited for a guard position, interior. So how many guards have been drafted in the top 10 since 1990? You guys know the answer to that? I got you guys covered. You guys hop on my other live stream. I talked about that. Can talk about Chris Neoli. Can talk about possibly Leonard Davis. Can talk about, there's two. I believe it was 2013. Jonathan Cooper and Chance Warmack were both drafted inside the top 10 as interior guards. Right? And I think 50% since 1990 of those draft picks that were drafted that were interior guards inside the top 10 happened to come from the Saints and the Cardinals. I think the other one was Kyle Turley, San Diego State. Don't correct me if I'm wrong. Just doing that all on top of my head. Love covering the draft if you haven't noticed. But here we are. Mickey Loomis probably watching this. Like, how does he know this? How does this guy know this? Joking. Anyways, that's where I think the Raiders stand. I think if you're going to go after a guy like Peter Skoronski, give Jimmy G an offensive lineman to work with up front. Give Josh Jacobs another interior offensive lineman that he can work with up front. He ain't Nick Chubb. He don't have guys like Wyatt Tiller. He doesn't have guys like Jack Conklin. He doesn't have guys like Joel Petonio, who are always voted by me first or second team All-Pro by PFWA. I'm just saying. Josh Jacobs did more with less. Just think if he had more. Now, it comes down to if GM Dave Ziegler is going to extend them long. That is another issue. I already talked about that on an earlier static video, but I think that Jimmy Garoppolo is a good sound play, right? Because you're not getting Aaron Rodgers money from him. It's like half that. So what do you do with the other half? Well, Josh Jacobs sitting there, extend him long term, allocate the other resources to build a stronger supporting cast. Boom. Football is not won by one specific player, even though the most important position on the team is the quarterback position. I understand that. But for you to say you cannot win with Jimmy Garoppolo, and you talk about the 25th ranked defense and the Coach Graham, look at Coach Graham's roster that he had to work with in 2022, and you name one Pro Bowl player outside of Max Crosby. It's Rocky, and a lot of these guys were on one-year dinners. They're on one-year dinners, one-year deals. You know, what's going to happen with Duron Harmon? What's going to happen with Rocky Yassin? They just signed Brandon Faison. Brought him back. They just got Marcus Epps from the Philadelphia Eagles. Played 1,058 snaps, which I believe no Eagles player has played more snaps than Marcus Epps did. Now, is he going to be a Pro Bowl? Is that a Pro Bowl secondary? I don't think so. But you never know how this thing plays out, right? You just never know how this thing plays out. So that's why I'm just like, okay, cool. Right? So what's the instant gratification versus long-term gains when it comes to these guys, right? The instant gratification is this. If you're looking to build a football team and putting the best 11 players on the field, you're going to want to, like I said this earlier, right? I tweeted this out. If you guys follow me on Twitter, it's in the description box below. You guys can follow me on Twitter there. But I talked about this. I said, look, there's a lot of different ways we can go about this, right? Like, if you sign a guy like Aaron Rodgers or trade for Lamar Jackson, that's a lot of return on investment. Look, I like Lamar Jackson. But am I willing, from a GM perspective, to give up multiple first-round picks and then sign that player to a long-term contract, knowing full well that he's somewhat limited? He is limited. Like, do you trust him as a passer? Like, we all know his dual threat ability. You all know that he won MVP back in 2019. But does he fit the scheme? You have weapons around you. So I don't know. I think if it was me, I thought it was a sound better play to go after Jimmy Garoppolo, save the allocated resources, and then use that to build up a stronger supporting cast around him. Our camera says, DOB, can we get some grades for today's acquisitions? Yes. Jimmy Garoppolo, I would give a B. I'm not going to give an A grade. I'd give it a B. When it comes to Marcus Epps, I did grade some of his film. Not going to sit here and lie and say grade every single snap because I didn't on him. Marcus Epps gives up a lot in coverage, I'll tell you that. But I can see why the Raiders would go after him. I think there's traits there that Coach Graham thinks he can coach up. Obviously, what's going to happen with Trevon Merrick, what's going to happen with Duron Harmon, tweeted this out on Twitter. We don't know. We really don't know. I think if you were to put a grade on Marcus Epps, I would have rather them go after Jordan Poyer. But at the end of the day, because I graded Jordan Poyer, I graded every snap of his. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Jordan Poyer, the safety position, I feel like you can find, it's not a highly prioritized position, just like running back. Now, I'm not saying Josh Jacobs isn't worth it. You guys already know I said Josh Jacobs is worth it, even though he's a running back. He's a first-team All-Pro. You can't say he's not worth the money. He's not worth the bread. But the free safety position, the safety positions, I don't know. I think having a lockdown cornerback would be better used to allocate those resources. So to go after a guy like Jordan Poyer, what was his asking price, right? When you talk about valuation versus evaluation, now there's a player out there that I thought would be a good fit for Coach Graham's system, and that would be free safety Jimmy Ward. So many Iron fans, oh yeah, throwing it out there because that's your boy, Jimmy Ward. He's a natural free safety, bro. Just saying it. Called it back in 2017, and he went on record telling everyone, yeah, Beast is right. Play him at free safety. Let him roam. All right. We also D-Man says Beast. D-Man is 4,200. If you guys don't know, we run giveaways here in the DOB, by the way. All right, let's go ahead and talk about some of these other guys that we brought in when it comes to the Raiders adding solid depth with Marcus Epps and Brandon Faison. All right. So people are wondering, who are these guys? You guys all know who Brandon Faison is, right? Coming back after not being with the Raiders last year and signing that 1-year deal with the Colts, who ironically under GM Chris Ballard traded away Yannick Ngakoue and traded away Rock Yassin for Yannick Ngakoue. And now Rock Yassin is on the 1 year. Now what's going to happen with Rock Yassin? There's a lot of moving parts here, guys. All right, Marcus Epps, 6 foot, 191 pounds, 2019 6th-round pick drafted number 191 out of Wyoming. And like I said, he's not a Pro Bowl player, but provides solid depth while fighting for starter reps. So, again, a lot of cool things when it comes to Marcus Epps. I don't know how Coach Graham is going to utilize him, but we're going to find out. He signed a 2-year, $12 million contract. Brandon Faison is an undrafted rookie free agent from the LA Chargers under GM Tom Telesco. And comes from the Ryan Grigson tree, also comes from the Bill Polian tree, and you guys know everything I had to say about that. Played for the Chargers from 2018 to 2021, then claimed off the waivers off the practice squad from the Chargers, killing 2 birds with 1 stone, thing within the AFC West. That's how the Raiders got him. And then in 2022, signed a 1-year deal with GM Chris Ballard in the Indianapolis Colts. Now comes back. He's going to be fighting for good depth as a boundary cornerback. And again, we don't know what's going to happen with that boundary cornerback position. Obviously, Nate Hobbs is going to be manning one position, but we don't know what's going to happen with the other one. So good camp battle to watch. I'm really excited about that. A lot of things to talk about here in the DOB. All right, let's get to some of your comments. There's some comments here. And if you guys like what you had to say, there's 62 of us watching here on StreamYard, more of us on Facebook Live and Twitter. I can't see those numbers, but smash the like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll be entered for weekly giveaways, including this Raiders helmet. This is the official helmet, and it's all licensed and everything. You guys can see. Let me show you guys. All right. And all our prizes are, like I said on Twitter, $50 to $100 plus, probably more. If you guys like the Raiders, you guys want free stuff, subscribe to the channel. Spread the word to all your family and friends. Tell them the bigger we grow, the bigger the prizes. I want to give out season tickets to the Raiders game. That's my goal. My goal is to give back to all you guys here in the DOB that support me. So my goal is to get season tickets and just give them away to people who support me. Because without you guys, I want to be here in the first place. Let's get it twisted. And some of you guys are asking, how can you support the channel? I get a lot of DMs on this. You know, it's funny. If people, in the description box, there's my Venmo. You guys can also send me a donation through Venmo. You guys can also do that through Facebook now. Facebook has the stars option. You guys can send me stars, and that's a donation as well as YouTube. YouTube does a really good job at this. You can send me a super chat or super sticker on the live streams, or if it's a static video that's pre-recorded, you guys can hit the money icon or the heart icon on the bottom of the screen, and that's a super thanks. Been getting a lot of those. So I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for doing that. Really helps upkeep of the channel and really helps us grow and keeps the channel moving, thriving. So thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. All right. But yeah, this is the cool giveaway that we have. I'm going to try to get this signed. And good stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that we're doing here, guys. But all right, let's go ahead and talk about some of these other components that we're talking about when it comes to the AFC West. What do you guys think about the AFC West this year? Let's get to some of your questions. Let's do that. I'm behind on the comments here. T Mahalo Film says defense. Cade Morehouse says Raiders have third most cap space to start and sign Jimmy G and Marcus Epps with no depth at linebacker. Defensive tackle, this front office is a joke. Well, I wouldn't say this front office is a joke, because when you look at the evaluation versus valuation, the valuation versus evaluation, no matter how you play it, the draft has some pretty solid defensive front seven players. And when you look at the pro player personnel perspective, and you look at the free agents that are out there, you never want to buy a stock at its high. When you do that, you build up a hole. So not every positional need going into every year based on your positional need is going to be valued at what you think you're valued at. Because you have the draft, you need to compare these prospects at the draft, and you're on rookie deals. It could be a 4-year rookie deal with a 5th-year option, or it could just be a straight 4-year deal. You can get bargain prices on undrafted rookie free agents that all these NFL teams will be fighting for as camp battles continue. I would disagree with that. I would disagree that that when you say there's no depth, it's still early. It's day one. There's a lot of good finds that you can find in bargain rates. Look, everybody's talking about comparables now. You look at who signed what contract, and the agent's sitting with the player and be like, okay, well, damn, I thought we were going to get this. Now we might just be getting this, right? So it's a catch-22. But ultimately, I don't think that I don't think GM Dave Ziegler is doing a bad job at all. I think he's doing a wonderful job. And I always keep it 100. I'll tell it like it is. If GM Dave Ziegler is doing a bad job, I'll be like, yeah, make me GM, dude. I'm joking. I'm joking. No, GM Dave Ziegler, hell of a guy. I said top 5 GM. Coach McDaniel's top 5 head coach. I don't care. I'll take it to the grave. Oh, Beast Receipts, check out more times than not. All right. Rocker Corey says, financially, this was a good move. Let's build the rest of the team, especially the defense draft. Quarterback re-sign guys like Matt Collins and Rock Yassin. Love you, Beast. Thank you so much, Rocker Corey, for the super chat. Really appreciate the love and support, man. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I like the moves. Look, they're not household names, but if you look at how GMs, good GMs, build their teams, you complement that free agency with building talent that you draft, right? You want to retain that homegrown talent. You want to develop some of these prospects on cheaper deals because they're on rookie contracts. Once they hit that second contract, now you can kind of have some kind of baseline of what you want to do. Either give them a second round tender or exclusive rights tender, a ERFA, whatever the case may be. Franchise tag them, give them that 5th-year option, decline that 5th-year option. I'm just keeping it 100. Look, GM Dave Ziegler has done a really good job. And for anyone who says that he's not doing a good job, I would challenge that. I say, look at the other 31 other NFL GMs. You want to go down the list? Let's go to the NFC West. Look at what GM John Lynch is doing. Look what the St. Louis Rams, LA Rams, Les Snead is doing. Look at what Seattle Seahawks John Schneider is doing. Look at what Arizona Cardinals new GM Monty Ossenfort, who comes from the New England Patriots, is doing. Look, you want to go down the list? Let's go. Let's look at what Ryan Poles is doing. Not Ryan Pace, formerly of the Chicago Bears. What's Ryan Poles doing? What's Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah doing from the Minnesota Vikings? What is Brian Gutekunst doing from the Green Bay Packers? So I challenge. I really challenge. We can go. I know all 32 NFL GM. Terry Fontenot, Mickey Loomis, Scott Fitterer. It's crazy how people just key on their own team that they're rooting for and say, "Oh, this GM's doing a bad job." Look what the other 31 other NFL GMs are doing. Look at what GM Chris Ballard's doing. We just talked about him. Look what GM Nick Caserio is doing with the Houston Texans. We can talk about him. Look what GM Trent Baalke is doing with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We can talk about him. Ethan Watt, Director of College Scouting, talk about him. I'm just saying, like, if people are going to formulate the analysis that GM Dave Ziegler and Coach McDaniels are doing a bad job, I challenge you. Go look at the landscape of the entire 31 other NFL teams, get back to me, and then formulate the analysis, and then we'll have a discussion about it. Look, I'm not saying I'm right, I'm wrong, but I've done the homework. Kevin Wayne says, some people are just negative about everything. They are. They are, Kevin. And by the way, thank you for your DM. I saw that earlier. Thank you so much for appreciate it. I saw that on Twitter. Thank you so much, man. It's crazy how people just like, look, if you're that good of a job and you think you can do a better job than this GM or that GM, you would be in that position. Everything's always easier in hindsight from real-time analysis, right? Everything's always better in hindsight. Doesn't always work that way. On to Six Socials. Thanks, Beast. T. Malafu Film says, we got to be patient, nation. Yes, you do. Jason Marshall's all in with Jimmy G. I like it. SVT Fastcaz, my guy, who, by the way, was watching my video yesterday while doing cardio from his home, I shared his story on my IG. If you guys don't follow me from my fitness ground on Instagram, go ahead and do so. Evo Gym Nutrition, what's up? Holla at your boy. You get your supplements there. If you guys don't know, now you know. Hashtag EvoBeast. EvoBeast is the 10% off discount code. You guys can get your supplements there. Ask me any questions you want. I will tell you, hands down, it's the best. There's a reason why we took Olympia here in lovely Las Vegas. Placed first and second. Howdy Chopin, what you know about that? Derek Lunsford, what you know about that? Evo Gym, holla at your boy. Jeremy Willis says, should have kept Stidham and built our defense. Look, I like Jarrett Stidham. I love Stidham Magic, and I wouldn't have been upset with that scenario. We talked about this, Jeremy, when you dropped some comments on earlier that YouTube videos. I would have been happy with Jarrett Stidham. I like Jarrett Stidham a lot, and I would have been happy if he would have. You know, I don't know. I think the proof is in the pudding, obviously, now. The writing's on the wall, what Jim Ziegler's thinking. Now that he got Jimmy Garoppolo, which I would rather have Jimmy Garoppolo as opposed to Jarrett Stidham, now I think they're going to go after, obviously, and draft a quarterback in this year's draft. Had they kept Jarrett Stidham, I talked about this on earlier live streams, had they kept Jarrett Stidham and went after a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, there is no wiggle room to go ahead and draft a quarterback. You're not going to keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster. It just doesn't really happen very often, right? So it's going to be interesting, guys. It's definitely going to be interesting how this one plays out when it comes to the quarterback situation. People calling Jimmy Garoppolo a bridge quarterback. Yes and no. It's only a bridge quarterback if Jimmy Garoppolo fails. If he thrives, you can't go with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, the Niners tried to push Jimmy Garoppolo out the door so many times. Like, it wasn't working. Like, he was just hanging around. Oh, man. Jeremy Willis says, the only way Ziegler saves his free agents is by signing Levante David. I don't like the Levante David. I think he's past his prime. I think he's going to be asking too much. I think it's better served to go ahead and just build what you have. You have a young nucleus there. You have Darian Butler, who still don't know what's going on with him, right? Played a lot of special teams, but the guy you saw what happened in preseason, right? The guy can lay the wood. You have Luke Masterson, very smart, very heady player, very special teams ace, but can also got his reps as a starter late in the season, right? So you got those base snaps. So I want to see more of him. 2 undrafted rookie free agents right there, right off the bat. Divine Diablo was hurt last year, so I want to see how he comes into this new scheme in year 2 under Coach Graham. So that's 3 players, and I talked about it with Coach Graham earlier in the year. I said, hey, man, Divine Diablo has been playing lights out lately, right? Not so much in the beginning of the year, but, you know, when I run my grades, I don't grade the box score. Grade the snap, not the box score, as I always like to say. You see things in Divine Diablo's game that he was picking up before his injury. And so I want to see that nucleus there. I really do. I really think that's a strong nucleus you can win with. And when Coach Pierce, who, if you guys don't know, Coach Pierce knows football. Like, this guy's like animated. He's amped all the time at practice. I love it. I mean, he could strap it up right now. He can like run through a wall. The guy looks like he can still play. I'm not joking. Coach Pierce will get these guys in the best position to make plays. I'm very confident going into year 2, because that's the best transition to gauge whether a player is good or bad, is from going from year 1 to year 2. I'm really eager to see what these guys can do in camp. I really am. And that's one of the reasons why, and as much as I love Denzel Perryman, you know, got along with him very well in my first year covering the Raiders. Love Denzel Perryman. But is he better player than the other 3 players mentioned? Absolutely. Not going to sit here and lie, like, no. But he has a 2-down thumper. There is a liability when it comes to pass coverage. So when you take that and you look at the valuation versus evaluation, how much it would cost to retain Denzel Perryman as opposed to giving these other guys a shot, because you don't know what you have or don't have unless you give these guys reps, right? You can't go out and say, hey, this guy sucks unless you see it on film. Like, what baseline do you have to say this guy sucks? Like, what if it was bad coaching in college? What if it was bad technique that he was being taught by the positional coach? I mean, we really don't know until you get to see live reps. And that's why I love training camp, and that's why I like breaking down those one-on-one battles, because it comes down to winning your one-on-one battles using what? Fundamentals. There's no scheme involved in one-on-one drills. It's all about mano-a-mano. Who's going to win this matchup? Scheme is out the window. It's a one-on-one. It's all about fundamentals, brother. If you don't know, now you know. That's what I love about training camp. And you guys know how I cover training camp. Eyes and ears, all about those drills. Austin Martinez says, aloha from Ireland. How you doing, Austin? Glad that you're here. Phil Romero says, Beast, is Jimmy G a better red zone quarterback? I see what you're doing, Phil. I don't know. I'm not going to say yes or no. Look, I broke down Jimmy Garoppolo's film as well when it comes to red zone efficiency and so forth. I would say neck and neck. I don't know. Like, I can't say one is better than the other. I'm not going to say that because to be honest with you, both of those players are. If I had to flip a coin, you can flip a coin right now. Jason Marshall says more players getting cut in possible trades. It's only opening 8 hours, Nation. Yes, thank you. Like, people want to hit the panic button, and it's only day one. Like, patience is a virtue. Like, let's just hold off. Let's stay calm, cool, and collected, right? As they always like to say when describing the quarterback, oh, he has poise. That's all of it. All of us should have the P word, poise. Like, let's just chill. Like, relax. Like, it's all good, dude. Like why you get all amped for? Did you take your pre-workout today or what? Which I did. And 30 ounces of coffee, but who's counting? Jeremy Lewis says, well, hoping we can get at least sign Drew Tranquil. Okay. Egalitarian Tour says, Ryan, who do you think Dave Ziegler will sign next in free agency? Well, based on how I'm seeing everything play out, I will know more about this answer or this question to the answer. I'll have your answer for you once free agency kind of dies down because it's still early. Like I said, it's still early. So I can have a better gauge. And thinking out loud here, and no one's telling me this. Again, goes back to how do you know what you have or don't have if you don't give these guys reps? Camp battle to watch. What about two guys they drafted last year? Matthew Butler and Neil Farrell. Everyone's talking about they needing a defensive tackle. They drafted two guys last year. Small sample size to pull from because remember I talked about it with Coach Graham, talked about Neil Farrell, talked about Matthew Butler, two guys, all those guys, right? Talked about all those guys. I like Neil Farrell. My good friend Andre Carter, coach him at LSU. What do you call him? A lighter Vince Wilfork. Played with Vince Wilfork. You guys know Andre Carter. Played for Raiders, played for Niners, played for the New England Patriots, Pro Bowl player. You guys know. Double-digit sack artist. Which, by the way, Andre, if you're watching, I'll give you a call. Ooh, it's late now for you. I'll give you a call tomorrow. But I think these guys need to be given a chance, right? Like, if you're not going to give them a chance, then ship them off elsewhere. But I think that they really think these guys can develop because you've seen on film what they did in the SEC, LSU and Tennessee respectively. These guys are beasts. Two gap their way into the backfield. Look, just on the Alabama game versus LSU. And my boy Dre was like, you roll tie roll. You see that Bama game? Yeah, Neil Farrell ate him up. That's what happened. But roll tie roll. Phil Romero says, Beast, when are you going to do a Raiders mock draft? That is a good question, Phil. I know everyone's waiting for my mock draft, Raiders mock draft. I'm going to have both the first round and my mock draft. Again, all of this will be posted once free agency dies down. Once free agency dies down, then I can kind of figure out things from there. I will formulate my mock draft. And of course, I know everyone's watching it. I have a good grasp already of how things are going. Fairly confident I know how definitely the top 10 picks, how they're going to unfold. Again, I predicted the Chicago Bears would trade out number 1 before Ian Rapsheet reported it. I said it's going to happen. Happened. The question remains at 2. And the reason I say that is because GM Nick Caserio sitting there at 2, is he okay to just take the leftover quarterback? Because in my estimation, I think he wanted Bryce Young all along. That's my guess. No one's telling me that. So if Bryce Young goes number 1 to Carolina Panthers, does he trade out? And let's say the Colts at 4 with GM Chris Ballard, because obviously we all know what the experiment that he had with the free agent quarterbacks that he had, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, and so forth. Are you, Philip Rivers, are you sure that GM Chris Ballard might not strike a deal with the Houston Texans at number 2 to get the quarterback that he wants? And who knows, that could be Will Levis for all we know. I don't know. But there is going to be, I don't think we're done with trades. I don't, inside the top 10. I do not. Specifically inside the top 5. I don't think we're done yet. I think there's going to be another trade here on March 13th based on how I kind of see things playing out here. I don't think Monty Ossenfort, I cannot see him trading off of 3 because I think he knows on his big board. Again, this is me talking out. You guys know how I am with Arizona Cardinals draft picks. Hit what? 4 of the last 5 first-round draft picks. I think he's better served to take the best player available on his board, which would be Will Anderson. He's going to be sitting there. The best player in this entire draft will be sitting there at number 3 for Monty Ossenfort. And that's why I think it's set in stone right now on March 13th. Unless he trades out, he's going to keep that pick, get the edge rusher of his choice, and it's going to be obviously Will Anderson. He's head and shoulders above anyone else. I don't know. How can you say Tyree Wilson's better? My gosh, no. It's Will Anderson. Will Anderson reminds me of a Von Miller type of a guy. That's who I see. I see Von Miller when it comes to Will Anderson. Is that a bad comp? Stockton, California said, I know it's way too early in free agency, but the Broncos are making better moves than the Raiders. My friends who work for the Denver Broncos would be loving this right now. Look, they got Jarrett Stidham. Good move. They also got DJ Jones last year. Good move, right? So you can kind of see what they're doing there. The Denver Broncos are doing a really good job. I will say this. I will say the Denver Broncos are doing a really good job. Now, they don't hold a first-round pick, obviously, but we all know that they got Jarrett Stidham. They got right tackle Mike McGlinchey, who also came from the 49ers. Go figure. And they also got Ben Powers, right, from the Baltimore Ravens. So, yeah, I think they did a really good job building up that offensive line. I thought that the Raiders would kind of beef up that offensive line. But then again, if you really look at it for what it really is, I think the left side is pretty much set. I don't think Colton Miller's going anywhere. Dylan Parham is obviously not going anywhere. Andre James, I don't think is going anywhere. You know, there's some people saying, oh, Andre James sucks. So I was like, dude, Andre James does not suck. Like, again, go look at the other 32 starting centers in the league. He's not suck. Right guard is an issue. Not going to sit here and lie. Right tackle is an issue. Jermaine Illumino is a free agent. We know what's going to happen with Brandon Parker. That's going to be a camp battle to watch. But they do have, and I already tweeted this out. If you follow me on Twitter, it's in the description box below, Justin Huron, coming back from a torn ACL. I really liked him. So, that being said, there's a strong camp battle going on without even signing anyone. So again, do you allocate those resources based on the valuation versus evaluation to sign a guy in free agency, look at the return on your investment, or would you better well serve that money and solidify another position on the flip side of the football? These are things you have to talk about. Egalitarian says, do you think Dave Ziegler will sign Jordan Poyer? My answer to that is no. I don't think GM Dave Ziegler is going to sign Jordan Poyer. I think they like the nucleus. Now, the funny thing about this is what's going to happen with Trayvon Merrick, right? Like, what's going to happen with Trayvon Merrick? Because he's not a GM Dave Ziegler guy. He wasn't drafted by GM Dave Ziegler. And how's this going to shape up? How's it going to shape up? Now, I will say this about about when it comes to Trayvon Merrick. I went on record. I'm not afraid to call myself out. I like calling myself out when I get it right and when I get it wrong. I don't care. Beast receipts check out more than times than not. So I'm not afraid to put my analysis online. I don't give a crap. Look, Trayvon Merrick, 2021 second round pick, right? So he's still young. Second year, I'm really high on Trayvon Merrick because not really high as in like saying he's going to be a Pro Bowl player like I said last year, but I do believe he's going to be a better player in 2023. I do. I really do. Smart, heady football player. I would like to see a little bit more range from him. I know that sounds crazy, but I want to see a little bit more range from him. Had a few missed tackles in open space, so maybe his tackling angles can be cleaned up a little bit. Maybe the hunt and gather technique can be worked on in training camp. That I posted those videos up on YouTube for all you guys to enjoy. But yeah. Jeremy Willis is he's 40 and 17 as a starter. I'll take that all day. Yeah. Who would not take that all day? Who would not take that all day? It's just Jason Marshall wants he wants Peter Skoronski at 7. We talked about this already, but I think he's better suited to be an interior guard. The arm length kind of concerns me. Now, arm length is not the end-all, be-all, but again, it does make a difference. That's why they have things called measurables. When I grade the snap, not the box score, when it came to Northwestern, all the snaps that I graded on Peter Skoronski screamed guard. You can be a serviceable offensive tackle. I'm not saying, but again, you look at guys like Tyler Linderbaum, right? People thought Tyler Linderbaum, what did I say about Tyler Linderbaum? So he's going to be one hell of a player. Oh, he has short arms. I don't give a damn. I really don't care. The guy can play. Must be an Iowa thing. Brian Bulaga had short arms too. He was a pretty good player. Robert Gallery, Iowa player. Drafted number 2 overall, I believe, by the the Oakland Raiders at the time. Yeah. I just don't see, if you're looking at Peter Skoronski as a guard, I think, again, we talked about the cluster of players that they could trade back a month and a half ago, and Peter Skoronski is one of the Raiders' targets that I had for them. I still see that coming to fruition today. Because who else did I talk about that they would be targeting? Jimmy Garoppolo. Here we are today. Beast Receipt checks out. See, you'll know stuff month and a half advance, 2 months in advance, 2 years in advance before it happens. Look, Beast Receipts check out. Just calling you how I see it. Jason Marshall is Christian Gonzalez. That's another one. That is another one for sure. Beast, Michael McCann says, Beast, I don't know why some people are bashing the move to bring in Jimmy G. Given what he paid, he's a steal. I don't know that he's an upgrade over Carr. Maybe Carr in the McDaniels system, but not overall. Yeah, I don't know why people are bashing Jimmy G. Look, the same dynamic that's here with the Las Vegas Raiders. You either like Derek Carr or you hate Derek Carr. There's no in between. No oh yeah, Derek Carr is good, but it's like, no, man, I love Derek Carr. They should have kept Derek Carr. And there's people like, no, man, what are you smoking? I'm not going to keep Derek Carr. He's not very good. And same thing with Jimmy Garoppolo. Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo took us to the Super Bowl. Oh, yeah, but he didn't win us the Super Bowl. Those are going to be, both fan bases who are on the fence about a player. Ultimately, it comes down to the quarterback position. Why? Because as unfair or fair as it is, they're the ones that get the blame and then get the praise. That's just a matter of fact. Comes with the territory. But yeah, I just, for me, I'm not saying one is better. I'm not saying Derek Carr is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo is better. What I will say is I think Jimmy Garoppolo is better for the system under Coach McDaniels than Derek Carr is. Not saying he's better. Not saying he's worse. That makes sense. Jeremy Willis says, hell yeah, Carter or Gonzalez. Yep, that's my 2. D-Miss says, hit that like button. Kevin Lurker, thanks so much for the super chat. Super thanks yesterday. He says, good evening, Beast. Good evening. How you doing, my man? Jason Marshall says, Low key, best news of the day was Austin Eckler no longer wanting to be an LA Charger. Yeah, GM Eric DeCosta, Tom Telesco was probably thinking like, what? Dang. But what's the market value for running back? See, this is the question. Like, how much do you value a running back in today's NFL when it's a pass happy NFL? You can't touch the quarterback. You can't do it. You can't sniff the quarterback. You can't even breathe on the quarterback. Just ask Grady Jarrett. Like, you can't do these things. There'll be a penalty. I'm sorry. This is football. Last time I checked. Are you playing flag? But hey, that's the rules. So you either play the game or don't be in the game. As fair or unfair it is, life isn't fair at the end of the day. But defensive players need protection too. And I'm a defensive guy. Thank you so much for the like. I appreciate it. You always give me love and support, man. I appreciate it. Always like responding to your comments too. Part of my job is just not engaging with you on the platform, like going on and shooting a video. I like engaging with you here in the DOB. That's why we call it, DOB, where social media engagement is encouraged, because I like to encourage feedback, discussion, give you guys a platform to talk. I think it's important. I think all these things are important. Whether you agree with me or not, it's good to discuss about this, right? Like you think GM Dave Ziegler always agrees with his scouts? No, there's disagreements, of course, because everyone has their own brain. So use it, right? Like, speak up, speak your mind, because at the end of the day, it's a healthy discussion and respectful discussion. It should be. And that's what we try to bring here in the DOB. Not everyone here is a Raider fan. We have Niner fans in here. We have Panthers fans in here, Steelers, Cardinals fans in here, Broncos fans in here. You name it. That's the name of the game. But everyone can talk about players and how you see that team moving forward based on the transactions that they made. I like it. I like engaging with you guys here. Raider Jim says, who do you think we draft at quarterback? I think the quarterback will be drafted. Now, watch me be wrong. I think, by the way, there's 63 of us watching here. Give this video a thumbs up, and please share this video to all your family and friends once it concludes, or if you're watching the replay. It really does the DOB a lot of good. And also, we'll be running giveaways, which include this Raiders helmet, brand spanking new. It's licensed, officially licensed by the NFL. There you go. Went to the Raider Image Team store. Look at it, says Riddell. Remember the Riddell helmets? If you're as old as I am, it used to say Riddell on the front of the helmet here, where it's blank right there. It used to say Riddell on it. Bring those back. Don't have the team logo on it. Just have Riddell on it in red. The league would be better for it. SVT Vasquez says, good vibes only in the DLB. Yeah, good vibes only. All right. Egalitarian says, Ryan, do you think Dave Ziegler would target Kaiser White in free agency? I don't think so. I think the draft, when it comes to defensive front seven players, I think if I'm a GM and as I'm running the raids, right, like if I have to kind of play that hat, right, when I'm coming on and formulating my analysis, do the best that I can. I think there's a lot of good depth in rounds 3 through 5. Because I think a lot of these teams are going to be reaching for positional units that weren't highly as coveted, because the free agent class of those positional needs are not worth the valuation versus evaluation. So they're going to dip into the draft, reach for some of these prospects, which in turn makes the defensive front seven players that were maybe higher on your vertical board kind of slide down a little bit. It's a huge science between those different parameters I just talked about, but that's how I see the draft playing out. And that's why when I formulate my mock draft, look, talk about right tackle Mike McGlinchey. I thought that the Niners were going to draft Mike. They drafted Mike McGlinchey. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. That's for sure. Here's the thing Okay, I could see Dave Ziegler either drafting Hendon Hooker in the second round or Dorian Thompson Robinson in the fourth round. I'm not high on Dorian Thompson Robinson. Saw him at the East West Shrine Bowl, covered him throughout the whole duration of practice throughout the week. I'm not seeing it. I'm not high on Dorian Thompson. Now, I know he's from Vegas. All right. Believe he went to what? Bishop Foreman, right? I'm just not high on him. I just don't see it. The same things that I saw him at UCLA, I saw during practice. And from an evaluation standpoint, I would kind of hope he would kind of take some kind of step forward, but he was like force feeding. And you want to talk about red zone efficiency. He wasn't the best in red zone efficiency, just put it that way. And again, when you're going inside between the 20s and then from the 20 to the 10 and 10 to the 5, you're talking about real estate to work with, right? There's less real estate to work with. So spacing is now confined and you have to throw in tighter windows and so forth. So what does that come down to? Accuracy. He's just not accurate. Ted Cunningham says, what do you think about Aziz Al-Shaair and Samson Ebukam for the Las Vegas Raiders? Like I would like both those players. I wouldn't mind any one of those two players. I think both those players are good, solid depth pieces. Not, again, they're not going to be Pro Bowl players or anything like that, but you can plug and play these guys. All right, they're plug and play athletes. But then again, when you look at defensive front seven in this upcoming draft, I would rather develop some of my own guys on cheaper contracts than go out and get a guy like Aziz Al-Shaair and Samson Ebukam. Just because you have the funds to go out and make a play for a player doesn't mean you have to go ahead and make a play for that player. You understand what I'm saying? Like just because you're $50 million in salary cap health, as I like to call it, as opposed to salary cap hell, doesn't mean you have to use all that capital to go out and just overpay for players that you really didn't value at that evaluation. Right? You really didn't value them what you paid them. So why would you give them that type of bread? Too many fans go on this rant on getting James Bradbury. Let's get these household names in here, right? It's like, no, like why? Grade the snap, not the ball. These guys are not worth it. No, I just don't see the logic behind there. Look, you have Nate Hobbs there. You just signed Brandon Faison. Sound play, right? Now, what's going to happen with Rock Yassin? We don't know. But the fact that they signed Brandon Faison means that maybe Rock Yassin is not going to be returning in 2023. Possibly, right? Because wouldn't you want to retain homegrown talent before delving into free agency and signing a guy outside to bring back 1 year that wasn't even with the organization when you came into it back in 2021? Right? These are things that you kind of... Or is Rock Yassin asking to him? I don't know. We really don't know. This is all speculation here, but I'm just thinking out loud here. On to Six Soldier. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says top 3 rookie quarterbacks that fit Josh's system. Well, Bryce Young would be my ultimate number 1. I mean, that's not a surprise. CJ Stroud would be 2. And the third one... Anthony Richardson or Hendon Hooker, right? I don't think it's Will Levis. Now watch him draft Will Levis at number 7. BEASTwriter said, oh my gosh. Oh, man. But thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. If you guys want to support, you guys can do so by sending me a super chat. There's also 68 of us watching right now just on StreamYard alone. Give this video a thumbs up and like it if you haven't already. It will definitely help with the YouTube channel and help grow the DOB, which stands for the dark side of BEASTwriter, as I'm coming over from the San Francisco 49ers, entering year 2, covering your Las Vegas Raiders. I always wanted to say that. That was a horrible job, but point taken. All right, Juan Polito says, I think Raiders should pick up my guy, Nolan Smith, out of Georgia. If a trade down or go after Pittsburgh, Kalijah Cansey. I wouldn't mind any of those two players. I already talked evaluation versus evaluation when it comes to Nolan Smith before he had his combine. Say, don't sleep on this guy in Not very, I'll be honest with you. Literally 100 people watched that video. That's it. But the same 100 people were like, dang, you know your stuff. Like, how'd you know he was going to have these? Grade the snap, not the box score. That's what I do. So you'll know stuff before stuff happens. So then you can call it and pass it off as your own. And then people will think you're a smarter. Oh, you know what I think? Oh, man. Niner for life says, good luck with Jimmy G. See, he's obviously upset because they lost Jimmy G. And he's on the Raiders now. And now Brock Purdy is on the surgery recovery timetable. So we don't know what's going on. But you guys have Trey Lance. 3 first-round picks for that guy. You guys have Trey Lance. You guys have now Sam Darnold, too. Does this mean Jeremy Willis says, BEASTwriter, hands down, the best Raiders content. Thank you so much, and mahalo for the love. I appreciate it, man. I just try to do the best job I can. I'm glad that you guys like this flavor. I like to say, I always say this, right? Like, everyone brings their own flavor to the table, right? I'm not going to be the news breaking guy. I'm not going to be the first to report guy. Sometimes I will be. But more times than not, I'm more like the analytical guy. I'm more the guy, the X's and O's guy, and the guy that likes to break film down and cover all 32 NFL teams. So when I hop on and talk about the Raiders, I can have a strong conviction on saying this player is playing well, this player is playing bad, because at the end of the day, I don't grade the box score, right? I think that's a lazy way of analyzing. I also don't rely on PFF. Like, I have my own grading system, right, that I developed over the years. And so that's why Niner fans follow me. That's why, you don't have to be a fan of a specific team too, because this is good for fantasy football. And all you guys play fantasy football. And you guys know how I do, helping you guys on Discord with your questions on Discord. Oh my gosh. By the way, are you guys going to pay me or give me a kickback for telling you guys who to bench and who to play, or what? From week to week, what defense should I pick up? Oh, how many catches are you, PPR or standard? Oh, I'm in a IDR IDP league. Oh my gosh, what defensive player? Like, I'm like, man, I should be getting some bread for this, man. And then some people, I won my big league. What's your big league? How much money was that? Oh, I won $10,000. What? Am I gonna see a penny of that? Oh, but thanks, man. Literally, a guy told me that. I'm like, huh? All right. Well, I'm glad to help you. James says, what type of linebacker fits Graham's scheme? I talk to Coach Graham about this all the time. Coach Graham's scheme, it comes with football intelligence first and foremost. If you're not a smart football player, you're not going to be on the field. I don't care about your skill set. If you cannot pick up things or pick up the defensive playbook or know the why behind the reasoning on why Coach Graham is setting you up and putting you in the best position to make plays, and you're not getting it for one case or another, like, you're not going to be on the freaking football field. Let's just start there. So you have to be very smart to begin with. Like, you can't be dumb. Like, I don't mean it, and I'm just calling it how I see it. Like, there are dumb football players. Like, they're stupid. Like, it's a strong word. Like, don't say anyone's stupid, but no, there are stupid people out there. Like if you're being taught to attack the near hip of the ball carrier and you keep on over pursuing the tackle, and I'm posting these videos in training camp on how to attack the near hip because you're a shoulder leverage tackling team and you're still making the same mistake in practice on game days, and then you wonder why you're not being active on game days. Well, it comes down to fundamentals. Let's start there. So you have to be smart, you have to be fundamentally sound, and you have to actually understand the playbook, right? Those are just 3 things off the bat. Skill is obviously a very important factor too. But if you don't get it from the shoulders up, you ain't going to be active, bro. In fact, you probably won't even make the 53, let alone the practice squad. Because if you look at the 16-player practice squad, when I interviewed mostly everyone on the practice squad. I love interviewing the practice squad. I love it. I love talking to people who are on the outside looking in. I want to see how hungry they are. I want to see why the Raiders brought these players in, because it's going to help me when I formulate my draft analysis on the type of players when it comes to football character, when it comes down to the personality types, when it comes to, do they love football? right? I'll be honest with you. I have friends who play in the NFL today who don't love football, but they're very good. Like very good as in like not started. Like these guys are like Pro Bowl players, right? They're really, really good. But past and present. But they don't love the game. They do it for a job. There's players like that. And they're okay with that because they just want that paycheck. I'm not going to sit here and say that doesn't happen. Trust me, it does. Some players do not have the passion for the game. And when you go through the NFL Combine, you have the 64-more interviews, you sit down with the prospect and say, hey, look, what's your deal? Like, what do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, you know, what drives you to be a better football player? And a lot of these players can get coached up, right? They go through the interview process and they kind of know the types of questions are being asked, so they kind of prep for it. But then if you throw a curveball in there, kind of throw them off their game mentally, and then circle back, and now you're hitting them with another question, and then circle back with a vanilla question, then you can kind of gauge whether or not he was telling the truth or not. Jeremy Willis says, absolutely 100 Carter Gonzalez or Nolan Smith at 7 would be outstanding. Ooh, Nolan Smith at 7. That's a little steep for my blood, but you can trade back with the cluster of players that I talked about and get Gonzalez or Nolan Smith. Carter will be sitting there for the Las Vegas Raiders at 7 as my board currently stands and how I see the different GMs playing out their first 6 picks ahead of them. Team Hall says, yo, Beast, we need more Polynesians on the team. Resign Kyle, my man, Kyle Pecco. They got to resign Kyle Pecco, bro. Talked about it on Raider Nation Radio. Kyle Pecco is a beast. Go number 92. Go turn on the film. 93. Go turn on the film and watch Kyle Pecco go. Watch Kyle Pecco go. The guy's a monster. Kyle Pecco. You guys don't know who Kyle Pecco is? He was obviously on the practice squad, then called up to the active roster, and he was playing really, really well for the Las Vegas Raiders. And now he's a free agent. He's a free agent right now. Are they going to bring him back? I hope so. Bring back Kyle Pecco. Bring back Kyle Pecco. Jeremy says, signing goes, will generate more sacks. Absolutely. Coverage sacks. KG says, wish we also kept Stidham, but should we sign Jacoby Brissett as injury insurance for Jimmy G? No, I wouldn't. I would just go with Jimmy G, draft a quarterback of the future, develop him, have Chase Garbers, and stash him on the practice squad and be done with it. Be done with it. You have your bridge quarterback who can potentially be the starter if he shows that he's worth it, which I think he will, barring injury, and then draft a quarterback that you don't have to rush and get up to speed, right? So a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, the best way to learn is on the job. It's like, no, man, that you seen the Alex Smith experiment? Oh my gosh. Derek Carr's older brother would know about that. When I was there at Candlestick Park and we were chanting for his brother. We want Carr. We want Carr. I wasn't. A lot of people were. I don't think it's the best idea. I think it's better served to sit behind a quarterback, a starting quarterback, learn the system, get up to speed on the playbook, because the NFL speed is a lot different from college. So aside from that, that's just, again, when we talk about peeling back layers of the onion to get to the core, as I always like to say in the DOB, there's different layers here. The quarterback position isn't just a plug and play position. Like the speed of the NFL game is a lot faster. There's a lot of more, just talking about up front, there's a lot of two-man game. There's different types of schemes that you have to encounter, right? And not necessarily going up against the vanilla soft cover 2 shell, right? There's different rules of engagement on the back end there. A lot of guys on the back end are smart enough to disguise pre to post snap, especially those safeties, because again, that's what the quarterback looks at, right? He just doesn't look and call it the Mike linebacker a lot of times. He looks at the safety. Is it single high? Is it double safety? Okay, and then what you have to do, you have to go back to the film, right? And then there's film that you have to go off of. So going into a game, and then also on top of that, you're learning your own offensive system, not just learning what the defense is doing, but you have to know exactly what you're doing, and then get all 11 players in position to make the play on every given snap. I mean, that's a lot of different things that are going and then just learning the nuances of the NFL game, like the day-to-day grind. Like, okay, on this time, from this time, we do this. On this time, and this time, we do this. On this time, and this time. And then adapting to a new city. Look, I can definitely understand this, because my first year covering the Raiders, I was definitely living out of a duffel bag. And you guys know, when I was hopping on live streams like this, I was literally living off of a duffel bag, going from Airbnb to Airbnb to Airbnb for like 3 months. So it's not easy. It's not easy for sure. T. Malafu says, do you think unrestricted free agency safety Isaiah Polamau pan out for us? I like Isaiah Polamau. I like him a lot. I think he has talent. I think he will be a camp battle to watch. And again, there's a lot of talent there that no one's really talking about. Now, they should. They should, because when I graded training camp, and I run grades on training camp throughout the game and pick little bits and pieces of how players are understanding, grasping the playbook based on what I'm seeing visually, defensive concepts. Isaiah Polamau, he's not dumb. He's a smart guy. Very, very smart guy. He's another guy that I'm really eager to see, which is why what's going to happen, and I wish they bring back Duron Harmon. Duron Harmon, I hope they bring him back. Now, they signed, obviously, Marcus Epps, so I don't know how that's going to pan out. You have Trayvon Merrick there. You're not going to sit him, right? He's not going to be a backup to anyone unless they bring in a guy like Jordan Poyer, which now watch it happen, even though I said it wasn't going to happen. If you do that and you sign Marcus Epps and Jordan Poyer, let's just say hypothetically, what does that leave Trayvon Merrick? What does that leave Duron Harmon, who's a free agent? What does that leave Isaiah Polamau? And when you formulate the 53, how many safeties are you going to keep, let alone defensive backs? Things are, you always got to stay 2 steps ahead. 2 steps ahead. All right, so I think I'm going to wrap up this live stream. We had a lot to talk about here today. I hope you guys liked what I had to say. A lot of good stuff that we had to talk about. I did want to talk about and touch base on one more thing, right? So I didn't get a chance to do it. I'm going to go ahead and do it right now because I think it's a good job that we do that. So if you guys haven't heard the news by now, which you probably have, if you haven't, I'm going to keep you up to date on it. Ticker up for you guys to know what's going on. All right, if you guys haven't heard the news by now, defensive end Max Crosby, first team, in my estimation, got my vote for first team All-Pro for PFWA. Max Crosby restructured his contract. If you guys haven't heard the news on that, that saves the team $7.5 million. And people want to know and talk about restructures. Usually how restructures go is obviously the guaranteed money is the guaranteed money, but there's a portion due at signing, and there's a lot of different layers that go into it. But in layman terms, how it works is anytime you want to restructure a player's contract, it's usually restructuring that roster bonus for the upcoming season into the form of a signing bonus spread over the lifelong of the contract. So what I mean by that is, let's say Max Crosby hypothetically signed a 3-year, $30 million contract and $15 million guaranteed, right? So obviously let's say he gets X amount up front. Well, if you want to spread the remaining balance of that signing bonus or roster bonus or whatever, you want to spread it over the 3 years of that contract. So that's why it's very important when you do that. You're just prolonging it's not like, oh, they really got manipulating the cap, because it's going to be due at some point. You're just kind of not putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, or 1 year. You're kind of spreading it in increments, right? It's kind of like what do you call it? Like 4 easy installments of XYZ instead of one lump sum. So that's kind of how it works. And so I wanted to bring that to your attention because I know Max Crosby went ahead and did that, which saved the team 7.5. And he didn't have to do it. Like, he was like, nah, man, I'm not going to do it. But he did. That's who Max Crosby is. Max Crosby is the ultimate team player. Ultimate team player. And I'm really excited. I think this team is trending in the right direction. There's no way that Denzel Perriman is going to return either, right? Denzel Perriman couldn't work out a deal with the Las Vegas Raiders. I haven't heard the news by now. But, you know, it makes perfect sense, right? Because you have Devon Diablo, Luke Masterson, you have Darian Butler there. That's already 3 players on the inside linebacker position that you have, or outside linebacker position, however you want to play it, right? I guess Devon Diablo would be the weak side linebacker there. But you have 3 backers there, right? So if you're going to draft, let's say 2 more backers and they're going to make the 53, that's 5 backers. So how many are you going to keep on the roster? And if you sign them 1 or 2 in the free agency, then what happens? Someone's going to be left out. Can't keep them all. Can't be like, I want 12 linebackers on the roster. Yeah, let's just keep them all, John. All right. All right, so I just want to go ahead. It's a fluid. Kevin Lurker said it's a fluid payment plan. Yeah, basically, it is a fluid payment plan. Absolutely. All right, so it's 56 of us watching here. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. And we're going to go ahead and keep things high here in the DOB. There's a lot of things that are trending in the right direction as we enter year 2, covering the silver and black. We are running bigger giveaways. The first year we ran big giveaways, but now we're getting even bigger giveaways. We're going to give out these Raiders helmets. They're like $40 a piece. So we're giving away these bad boys. We're giving away signed autograph memorabilia. We're going to give away more silver and black pride stuff like the Raider Nation rally towel, things that you really normally can't get anywhere else. And I found that because I lived in the Bay Area, obviously born and raised. Remember the Raider Image store in the Great Mall that used to be there right when you walk in? It's not there anymore. There used to be really cool stuff in there. And every time I was always like, man, how come the Niners don't have a store inside Great Mall? And then they did at Valley Fair, and then that kind of went there. No more. But the Raider Image store here in Vegas is you'll find stuff that you can't find anywhere else. And I know that for a fact, because every time I go back to the Bay Area, it's like, man, you can't find this in Henderson. Like, there's nothing like Henderson or Las Vegas. They have everything. So I'm going to give out exclusive prizes that you can't really get anywhere else. And so I know the Raider Nation, as big as the Raider Nation is, right? Like globally, right? Not just here in the United States, but globally. You're talking about a brand name that's going to, in silver and black, best colors in all of football. I don't care what anyone says. You can hate all you want, but let's call it how we see it. Silver and black is the best. I'm just saying. So that in itself sells itself. So a lot of cool stuff that I'm going to be giving away for all you guys that just subscribe to the YouTube channel. So the bigger we get, the bigger the prizes that I can give. So again, like the video, share the video on your social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or Twitter, and retweet this video out and share it on all your Facebook platforms, whether it be a Facebook group, if you're in the Raider Nation Facebook groups that I'm in, or obviously we have also other outlets that we're on, TikTok, of course, as well as Twitch TV. So be sure to subscribe to all those social media platforms. It's in the description box below. And you guys can go ahead and be entered for our weekly prizes. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. Again, I hope you guys learned something today. I want this to be an educational channel. I want you guys to learn something because I learn stuff from you guys all the time. So I want to kind of pay it forward. Like, I learn from you just as much as you guys may learn something from me. So it's really, really fun just to engage with you guys. You guys wanted my thoughts on free agents. I hope I did a good job on bringing and shedding some light on my line of thinking on what I would do and what I think the Raiders actually would do, because who cares what I think? It's actually what GM Daisy is actually be doing, and hopefully you gain some insight on that. So again, at the end of the day, when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo, because this whole video, right, is we covered a lot of ground here, but when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo, I think it's unfair to just simply write him off. He hasn't even landed here in Vegas yet. So like, I think it's really unfair to write off a player who hasn't even landed here. You know, it's not what have you done for me lately, because he hasn't done anything lately. He hasn't been here. So what's in the past is in the past, but we're moving on. This is the future. Like it or not, Derek Carr's off to New Orleans Saints, and Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders. So that's facts. That is facts. And nothing can change that. So again, thank you. I just want to give a quick shout out to Rocker Corey for the super chat earlier today on today's live stream. If you guys want to support, you guys can do that on the replay. There is a heart icon, which is a super thanks. And also during the live streams like this one, you guys can send me a super chat or super sticker, which would be a money icon on YouTube. Thank you so much for On to Six Soldier. And thank you so much, everyone, for your love and support and dropping those comments. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you guys had fun. I know I had fun. That's it for today. And we'll be back tomorrow on another Pick 6 at 6 live stream as we discuss possibly more Raiders free agents making their way to 1475 Raider Way. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day. BEASTwriter out.